So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to come up with the list, because if I came up with the list, you'd think there's some trick to it. I want you guys to shout out items, and Gina here will write them down, whatever order you hear them in. So you don't even have to follow me if you want. I'll start off with the first one as a pineapple, since we're out here, all right? And I want you guys to shout this out and come up with items. We want to have a good, like 15 or 20 items.
Stairs.
Stairs.
I didn't hear it.
Alligator, elevator. Boats. Nice. You guys are very creative. Normally it's like pulling teeth in a corporate. Nice. Now try to think outside like you can go outside you can put snow down. It's okay. It's not going to bother us. We got to make it a bit more random. That we can't have it all tropical. Let's make it a little bit more random here. Oh, go travel. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Australia, sure, that's fine. Yeah. Armadillo. Okay. You're just coming up with tough things for her to spell. It's not a spelling contest. All right. Candy, I like that. Put a castle in there, because who doesn't want to visit a castle? All right, how are we doing?
We only have 9.
Oh, keep going. No, it's got to be a thing. Suitcases. Put in like a stove or a car or something. Money, basketball, alternator in a car. Okay. There you go.
What did you say?
Skyscraper. I like that.
Skyscraper?
Santa Claus. There you go. It's Robert back there. There you go. It's how he introduced himself to me. I can't help but remember that. It's too easy.
I have 14.
14. All right.
I'm sorry?
Let's get at least 16 just so it's challenging. Vitamins? Vitamins. That's fine. All right. All right, so we got the list down. Now we got some new people here who are going to think this is kind of crazy, out of context. But we'll see. Hey. All right. Can I see the list? Is that possible? I promise I won't go into your Tinder or whatever. Thank you very much. All right. So if you had to memorize a list like this, if you were going to make money at it, you absolutely had to, you were going to be tested, what would you do? Well, most people would repeat it over and over and over and over. On average, what that results in is you remember maybe the first two, the last two, and maybe one thing in the middle, right? So I'll say it out loud once for us just so you can kind of get a feel for this test here. So it's pineapple, pears, an elevator, dragon fruit, a lot of fruit. Australia armadillo, candy, a castle, a dungeon, tree, suitcase, alternator, skyscraper, Santa Claus, a recliner. That's a nice mix in there. Vitamins and a computer. So who here thinks they remember a couple of them? Like you probably maybe remember castle or dungeon, maybe something like that, or Australia, right? But if you have to memorize it, it's really tough, right? So here's the trick. We play a game of add-on. What I want you to do is visualize one item, and then you want to make a silly picture or something that's really crazy that connects it to the next item. And I'll help you out with the first ones here. So we have pineapple and pears. This is a little tough because they're both fruit. But what you want to do is visualize it in a way that just sticks in your mind. So what would be the craziest association between pineapple and pears? Like I would think that a pineapple and a pear are getting into a fight. Like they're coming to life and they're UFC fighting each other. All right? Like I got a good imagination, right? A fruit salad, yeah. Well, that's what happens afterwards, right? Yeah. The winner destroys this would be a good game. Any other ideas for pineapple and pear? Oh yeah, kind of like a genetically altered pineapple with pears sprouting out the top and everything. So the point is, she comes up with something different than she comes up with, right? So we're all different, right? That's what I want you to remember. When you come up with these images, if you think of something that's different than what I think of, go with your image, but visualize it clearly in your mind's eye, and you'll be surprised what you can do. All right, so we have pineapple and pears. Now here's the trick. Don't think of pineapple anymore, just think of pears and connect it to an elevator. Imagine you go out to the elevator over here. You walk into the elevator and there's just all these like the walls are covered in rotted pears. Like they had a weird idea for some tropical theme that went bad. I don't know. That's what pops in my mind to be really weird. Any other ideas for elevator and pear? What about an elevator in the shape of a pear? Could you imagine that? Going up and down in the pear elevator? Any other ideas? All right. Elevator and dragon fruit. What do you think for elevator and dragon fruit? You could do the same thing. You could have the elevator beside it. Looks like a dragon fruit. Oh, yeah, you go into the elevator. Well, what if they puked up their dragon fruit drink? Like all over you. I don't remember that. Now, here's the thing. What you want to do to make these images really memorable is to exaggerate. So if I want to connect dragon fruit to Australia, I imagine the outback of Australia and a whole bunch of dragon fruit are just running through the outback. Can you imagine that? All right, now at this point, all I've done is tell you a few silly pictures. And you're thinking, what the heck is this guy on? Right? But what's the first item in the list?
Pineapple.
Pineapple, what's that remind you of? What was coming off the top of the pineapple? The pears, where were all the pears? In the elevator, and what was the elevator in the shape of? Or dragon fruit, that's right. Where the dragon fruit running through? I'll give you a little bit of hint there. Australia and armadillo, this is a tough one. What do you think for Australia and armadillo? What if I had carved a map of Australia on the top of an armadillo? Yeah, a bunch of armadillos rolling through the outback, chasing the dragon fruit. You could imagine that. Armadillo and candy. What if there was an armadillo, like their shell was made of candy? Could you imagine that? That'd be awesome. I would imagine that. All right, candy and castle. Well, that just makes itself in your head, right? A castle made of candy. Can you picture that? All right, castle and dungeon. Well, I kind of want to move that around a little bit. Can we? Let me see if I can erase that one because it's like castle and dungeon are too close to each other. Let's just go for a castle and a tree. I can't do iPhones. Okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. Castle and a tree. So imagine a tree growing up in the middle of a castle and just breaking it all into pieces. Can you picture that? After tree, we have a suitcase. Imagine you're carrying your suitcase along and there's a tree, like a palm tree coming out of the top of the suitcase. What else? Any other ideas for suitcase and tree? A tree with suitcases, like growing suitcases off the tree. All right, so that's a few silly pictures, but if I say pears, what's that remind you of? The elevator. And what was in the elevator? Dragon fruit. Where are all the dragon fruit? Australia. What was on Australia as well? Armadillo. What we do with the armadillo, or what was made of? Candy. What else was made of candy? The castle. And then what was coming out of the castle? The tree. And then where was the tree? The suitcase. So you see, like when you actually do this, it seems silly, but it really works. All right, let's do the last few here. Suitcase and an alternator. Just if you don't know what an alternator is, just think it's like a car part, and it's a giant car part in your suitcase. So you open up your suitcase and you look at it, and it's just this greasy car part in the middle of all your clothes. Could you imagine that? Just picture that. After alternator, we have a skyscraper. Imagine a giant alternator at the top of a skyscraper. Yeah, you're making it crash down and everything. That's a little 9/11-y. I don't know. That's a little bit. All right. All right, skyscraper and Santa Claus. Imagine Santa Claus at the top of a skyscraper.
Or he got his thing.
He got stuck on the top. That could work, yeah. All right, Santa Claus and a recliner. Santa. Just imagine him in a recliner on the sled. All right. And recliner and vitamins. So this is one of the ones that makes a really good memory link. If you just imagine one thing made of something else, it immediately sticks in your mind. So if you imagine a recliner made of like millions of vitamins all glued together. It sounds silly, but it's one of the things that wakes up your brain. All right, and vitamins and computer. You can do the same thing. Imagine you order vitamins on the computer, but it comes through the computer screen. We're like so close to that, probably technology-wise. Okay. All right, so we just made a few silly pictures. Does anybody think they know the list? All right, you want to go through it as a group?
Yeah.
All right. What's the first item in the list? And then? And then what was in the elevator? Dragon fruit. Where was the dragon fruit? And what was with Australia? Armadillo was the armadillo covered in? Ugh. Candy. I can't speak, but I can imagine. Candy to castle, castle to tree, tree to Suitcase, what was in the suitcase? Alternator, alternator on the top of a skyscraper, skyscraper 2. Santa Claus, Santa Claus 2. Recliner, recliner 2. And vitamins 2. Computer, give yourselves a hand. All right, I don't think you're excited enough yet. So one of the neat things about linking things together is that you can go forwards and backwards just as easily. And you cannot do that with rote memory. Just try to say the alphabet backwards and you see what I mean. Right? You can only memorize it the way you recalled it. So who here actually has my book, Brain Hacker? I know you have it. There's a couple people who came up to me. Oh yeah, you have it? Okay. All right, who wants a copy of my book? All right, if you want to come up here, if you can say the list backwards, then, oh, I'm sorry, it timed out. Can you open it back up for me? Sorry. If you can say the list backwards, I'll give you a copy of my book. And if you went through the exercise, and you know, if you fail at it, then you're fine. The other Kim, come on up. I do remember you. Yeah, we met earlier at breakfast there. Come on up around here. Everyone, give her a hand. Yeah, just open it up and I'll test her. We already know the list, but it's good to have backup there. All right. So you remember it? Now first of all, do you normally have a very good memory or no? No. Okay. So were you surprised by remembering some of these?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So what's the first item?
Going backwards?
Going backwards. The last item.
Computer.
Computer. Okay.
Vitamins.
Yep.
Recliner.
That's right.
Santa Claus.
All right. Yep.
Skyscraper.
What was that?
Skyscraper.
Yep.
Alternator. Suitcase.
Yep. Coming out of the suitcase.
Yep. Skyscraper was coming out of the suitcase.
Okay, well that's one way to do
The
it.
alternator.
No, the suitcase, I was carrying around a suitcase that had something in it.
Tree.
There you go.
Castle.
I didn't hear anything. Castle, that's right. Castle made of?
Candy.
That's right.
Armadillo. Australia.
That's right.
Dragon fruit. Elevator. Pear. Pineapple.
All right, give her a hand. There you go. Here's a wonderful, shiny copy of my book. There you go. Thank you so much. Give her a hand, guys. Give her a hand. We've got more to buy. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So according to neuroscience tests, if you can score above 9 on that list, you have a genius level memory. That was my point. We all have a powerful memory. It's not going to be perfect all the time, but that's really what brain training can do. If you do brain training on a regular basis, you'll find you get sharper. And I got to tell you guys, I'm living proof. If you don't do these techniques, then you also lose it. I'm very ADD, and I went through a long stretch during COVID where I was super stressed out. I did not follow my own advice. It took me a long time to get my brain back on track, and you can feel the difference, and everybody in my life knew the difference.